Hi, welcome to Heaven of Stories. What if I told you that an entire city disappeared in a single day? No ruins, no survivors, no explanation. For centuries, travelers spoke of a magnificent city hidden deep within the desert, a place filled with wealth, secrets, and ancient mysteries. But one day, without warning, it vanished as if it had never existed. Was it destroyed by a forgotten catastrophe? Swallowed by the desert? Or did something far more mysterious happen? Tonight, we uncover the legend of the city that disappeared in one day. This is the story of Atlan. Chapter 1. The city that never slept. Long ago, before modern maps were drawn and before nations had clear borders, there existed a legendary city known as Atlan. It was not just a large city. It was the wonder of its age. Surrounded by endless desert and resting within a vast oasis, Atlan looked like a green island floating in a sea of golden sand. More than 200,000 people lived there, an astonishing number for that era. Every morning before sunrise, the city came alive with the sounds of merchants, craftsmen, and travelers. Markets opened, ovens were lit, and caravans arrived from distant lands, carrying treasures from every corner of the world. In the Grand Market alone, one could buy silk from the east, ivory from the south, rare spices, precious gems, and ancient books found nowhere else. Wealth flowed endlessly into the city. Travelers often wrote, if a man dropped a gold coin in Atlan, he would not bother to pick it up. Yet beneath the city's prosperity lay secrets buried for centuries beneath its stone foundations. Chapter 2. The Forbidden Library. At the heart of Atlan stood the greatest library in the known world. It was a massive 5-story building containing thousands of manuscripts and scrolls. The library was overseen by an elderly scholar named Yunus. Yunus was perhaps the last person who knew the true history of the city. One night, while studying an ancient manuscript, he discovered several hidden pages sealed between the covers. As he carefully read the faded text, one sentence made his blood run cold. On the 7th rise of the crimson moon, that which was imprisoned beneath the city shall awaken. Yunus froze. He turned the pages faster. The more he read, the more terrified he became. The manuscript was not speaking of war, famine, or disease. It spoke of something much older, something that had existed long before Atlan itself. Chapter 3. What Lies Beneath. According to the manuscript, Ikwan Damlad, 2,000 years before Atlan was founded, the region was nothing but barren desert. One day, a group of wanderers discovered a gigantic opening in the earth. Curious, they descended into the darkness. What they found was impossible. Beneath the desert lay an ancient underground city, a city that did not appear to have been built by human hands. Its halls were covered in strange symbols, and enormous stone mechanisms lined the walls. Deep within its center stood a massive black sphere. It was larger than a house, and it was alive. The travelers claimed they saw it pulsing like a giant heart. Terrified, they fled. Years later, scholars and priests returned to investigate. After studying the object, they decided it was too dangerous to leave exposed. They built a powerful seal above it. Then, over generations, a city grew around the seal. That city became Atlan. As centuries passed, the truth was forgotten. Only the legends remained. Chapter 4. The Man in Black. Several days after Yunus discovered the manuscript, a mysterious stranger entered the city. He wore black robes from head to toe. His face was hidden. He rarely spoke. Yet many citizens claimed to see him in different places at the same time. Some swore he stood in the market. Others insisted he was at the harbor during the exact same moment. Rumors spread quickly. Who was he? And where had he come from? One evening, he approached Yunus. Without introducing himself, he whispered, "The countdown has begun." Then he vanished into the crowd. Chapter 5. The night everything changed. That night, Yunus climbed the highest tower of the library. As he looked toward the sky, he noticed something horrifying. The moon was turning red. A deep crimson color, exactly as described in the manuscript. The prophecy had begun. The following morning, strange events swept through the city. Water clocks stopped working, compasses spun wildly. Birds abandoned the oasis, camels refused to drink. Children across the city reported having the same dream, a city sinking beneath endless waves of sand. And on Chapter 6, the sounds below. A week later, the sounds began. At first they were faint, soft echoes beneath the ground. Most people ignored them, but each night they grew louder. Thump, a thump, thump. The rhythm resembled the beating of a giant heart. People awoke from sleep hearing it. Guards on the city walls heard it. Even merchants in the markets stopped to listen. The sound came from deep below the city. Something beneath Atlan was awakening. Chapter 7. The Great Crack. 3 days before the disaster, catastrophe struck. Without warning, the central square split apart. A gigantic crack opened across the ground. Buildings collapsed into the abyss. Dozens were killed. Panic spread. Thousands fled the city, but the wealthy merchants and rulers remained. They believed Atlan was too powerful to fall. It would prove to be their greatest mistake. Chapter 8. The day the city disappeared. The final day arrived beneath a yellow sky. The sunlight seemed weak and unnatural. At exactly 9 o'clock in the morning, every sound vanished. The wind stopped. Birds fell silent. Even insects disappeared. An eerie stillness covered the city. Then the earth began to shake. Not for seconds, not for minutes, for hours. Buildings cracked, towers leaned, statues shattered. By noon, the strongest tremor yet struck the city. The royal palace split apart. Thousands of cracks spread through the streets. The ground seemed alive, as though something enormous was trying to escape. Then came the impossible. The entire city began to rise. Houses, markets, palaces, temples, people, everything lifted several feet into the air. For one brief moment, Atlan hovered above the desert. Then it vanished, not destroyed, not buried, gone. In a single second, as if it had never existed. Chapter 9. The Search. The next morning, rescue caravans arrived. What they found shocked them. There were no ruins, no bodies, no broken walls, no fallen towers, nothing. Only empty desert stretching to the horizon. It was as though a giant hand had erased the city from reality itself. After days of searching, explorers discovered one final clue, a massive stone door buried beneath the sand. Carved into it were mysterious words, and the city was not destroyed. It merely returned to where it came from. No one understood what the message meant. Chapter 10. The Final Secret. Centuries passed. Explorers continued searching for Atlan. Most believed it had been swallowed by an earthquake. Others thought a colossal sandstorm had buried it. But 50 years ago, a new discovery changed everything. An expedition uncovered a hidden tunnel beneath the desert. At the end of the tunnel stood an ancient wall. Engraved upon it was a map. But it was not a map of the earth. It was a map of the stars. And at its center was the symbol of Atlan. Some believe the city was never destroyed. At least some believe it was transported somewhere beyond our world. And according to desert legends, on silent nights, travelers can still hear distant voices beneath the sand. The sounds of busy markets, the footsteps of forgotten people, the echoes of a city that vanished in a single day, and a city that may still exist, waiting to be found at the end. And so, Atlan vanished in a single day. Yet its story lived on through the centuries, reminding us that power and wealth may build great cities, but wisdom and humility are what keep them from falling. If you enjoyed this journey into the mystery of Atlan, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications for more incredible stories and legends from around the world. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep wondering about the mysteries hidden within our world.